Today we receive a Los Angeles author whose writing journey began at his 16 years old, inspired by his love of classic horror stories. What started as a teenage dream of filming his own horror stories evolved into a decades-long writing career, spanning over 10 publications across multiple genres, including horror, drama, suspense, non-fiction, memoir, and poetry. His first novel, The Vendetta House, published in 2005, marked the beginning of his publishing journey. His versatility truly set him apart, and we have a lot to learn from him. So we say, welcome to Writing Inspiration with Maree Books. Hello, Daniel. How are you? How are you feeling today?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm fine. Thank you for asking. So, Daniel, I have noticed that you have many books up there right now, right?
Yes, I have actually 10 published books. Yeah.
Oh, wow. You didn't lose time, clearly. So, tell
No.
me, what inspired you to become a writer? When did you start?
Well, the idea for or the inspiration for me to become a writer was when I was about 16 years old. I used to watch a lot of horror movies. And I remember I wanted to write a screenplay and just write a horror movie or horror screenplay, get my friends in it, get my video camera, and just make a little horror movie. So that's how it started for me as a writer, as almost like a screenwriter. So that's how it started for me.
For many, I understand. It happened to me too, something similar.
Okay.
Oh, okay. So tell me, when did you get published?
My first book, The Vendetta House, was published in 2005. And then I just recently had a second edition this year for The Vendetta House second release, which is just came out. So 20-year span, but in 2005 I was published.
Wow. That's a very long time.
Yeah.
20 years. So in these 20 years, you have published 10 books.
Correct. Yes.
Okay. So tell me, were you like traditional published?
Yeah, well, my books are self-published, and my first four were with Author House, and then the remaining six are with CreateSpace, Amazon CreateSpace, or KDP with Amazon. Yeah.
Oh, okay. Are you a full-time writer right now?
No, I have a job. I'm a community health worker. I do HIV and STI testing and counseling, and so that's my job right now. But I write a lot too. So yeah, it's like a second job to writing.
Wow. So how long did it take you to finish like your first book?
Well, the first book, The Vendetta House, I started when I was 16, like I said, and I didn't publish it until I was about 28, I think, 28, 29. So it took me like many years off and on just working on it, changing things, adding things, updating and just editing. And so it took me a while to finish that one. But yeah, that was my first one. It took me about 16 years, maybe, I think.
Oh, wow. So right now you are focused mostly on horror?
No, actually, I'm a writer of different genres. I write horror, I write drama, I write suspense, thrillers, nonfiction, poetry and songs, a little bit of everything. Every book that I publish is different from the last one, and they're all of different genres and styles.
Oh, that's fascinating.
Yeah.
Most people don't usually do that. Some things is distracting, so it's pretty impressive if you can maintain the reading even with that.
Yes. Well, I'm a person who's very versatile in many different ways, with music, with art, with books and movies and everything, so I like to keep it different and change it up a bit. Yeah.
Okay. So do you have any hobbies that help you while working?
Yeah, well, I love to hang out with my family and friends. I love to travel. I love to cook. I'm into movies and music and books and just trying to go to the gym at times and hanging out with my partner and just stuff like that. Yeah.
Oh, okay. So when you were working on your first draft, when you were about to publish, what was happening in your life at that moment?
Well, I was in my late 20s when I published my first book, and I met my partner 23 years ago, and we've been together since then. So I've been living my life here with my partner in Hollywood, and just, hanging out with friends and going to the clubs and traveling and writing my stories and just stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay. Well, at least you have been busy.
Yeah.
Did you ever thought this will be like your life? You with now 10 books out?
Well, I've always juggled different stories throughout the years, and like it was a dream for me to have them published, even if they're self-published, but it was just a dream to have them published, to hold the book and see my name on there and my picture and the words that I wrote. It was like, it's like a dream come true. Yeah, I love it.
Well, at least it is. So,
Yeah.
do you have any advice for new writers starting right now?
Yeah, I would say, as a writer, you have to want to be a writer and want to do this, because it's very a lot of people say, "Oh, I have this idea," or "I want to write this story," but they never get pen and paper to do it, or finish it. And if you want to be a writer, you have to do the work and finish what you're doing, and just have the discipline and the drive and the ambition, and just want to be a writer, and love what you do, not do it for thinking you're going to make millions or sell millions of books, but do it because you want to do it. And that's why I did it. I love writing, and so I will always keep writing. So yeah.
Okay, okay. Do you edit your own books, or do you have a team helping you?
No, I've had editors help me with my stories, and I've also used Grammarly to help with grammar and stuff like that. But yeah, I've had editors help me, and yeah.
Yeah, but remember that Grammarly have a limit, so yeah.
Yeah, that's why you have to make sure you know what you're putting out and what they're doing, because it could either mess up or make it better. Yeah, you have to pay attention to that.
It's mostly because Grammarly they have the same problem as AI when you ask them to fix mistakes on that area, because usually they don't understand that certain mistakes are usually there on purpose.
Yes.
Especially when you're talking in a specific way, then they take everything too literal.
Or too AI-ish sounding. Yeah. So you have to. I just use it just to help with grammar and spelling and stuff like that, but not
Honestly,
like.
the way I recognize something is AI, it's when it sounds like an essay.
Mm. Yeah.
Because it is. When it sounds like an essay, it's usually because of that.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, what is your writing routine? Like, are you a pre-planner, plotter, improviser?
Well, the 10 books I have published, I've worked off and on for many years. Some of them I started when I was in my late teens and early 20s, and I've kept up with them. And I also am working on sequels, and so I write and edit and read my stories just about every day, and it's been a long process. I mean, I'm a lot older now, and so, but yeah, I just try to keep writing and editing and reading my stories every day and creating. Yeah.
Right. So, oh, I forgot to ask, but what was the most difficult thing you have to struggle with when you started writing?
The most difficult thing that I had to struggle with, I would say that just trying to keep the story as professional as I could, and just trying to make sure that it's everything's okay and no mistakes, stuff like that. I always worry about, and yeah.
Oh, how do you deal with marketing?
Marketing. Well, I've had a few book signings here in Hollywood. I went, and on social media, I had a website, my, YouTube, Instagram, TikTok, X, all that stuff. I try to promote on there, and just word of mouth. And I also freelance for a magazine called Adelante Magazine, what I write for. And so I promote on there too, and, stuff like that. Yeah.
Okay, okay. Just for a bit of promotion, can you tell us a little bit about your first book and your last one?
Yeah. Well, my first book, The Vendetta House, here it is. It's a horror story because, like I said earlier, I grew up watching a lot of the horror movies, and I wanted to make my own, like do an homage to all the horror movies I grew up watching, like Friday the 13th, Halloween, Prom Night, Texas Chainsaw Massacre, the list goes on and on. So I created The Vendetta House about a family who live in the woods in a nice home, and something drastic happens to them. And then 17 years later, a group of high school teenagers go to this now abandoned house, and what they don't know, that someone is still living there seeking revenge. So it's basically a slasher horror story that follows the genre of the movies I grew up watching, but with my own original twist and plot, yeah, and characters.
Okay, okay. And what about your last one?
So the last book I published is called oops, it's called Dark Path, which is actually a chapter, a chronicle of my
Oh
life.
yeah, I remember that one. We're
Yes,
still working on that one.
yes. So the Dark Path is the third chapter or the third chronicle of my life, a series called the Dark Chronicles. And the third one is basically the aftermath of what happens before the first and the second. And if you read the first and the second, you would understand this one, but you don't have to read the first or second to read the third or so. But it's basically my life that I was hustling on the streets about 22 years ago, 3 years ago, and I was suffering through mental problems, and that was basically what led me to be on the streets and hustle, and in a time where it was dying out. Street prostitution was dying out at that time because internet was coming along, technology, and all that stuff. So I was doing it when it was already pretty much dead or dying out, and that's basically what the Dark Path is about. So
Wow, that's
yeah,
dark.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah,
So it's basically a memoir. I understand. So
yes.
this is the second of a trilogy.
No, it's the third. Dark
Oh,
Path is the third one.
oh,
Yeah.
so this is the ending of the story.
No, there's more. I'm currently living and still writing the fourth one, which is called A Light in the Dark.
Well,
Yeah.
let's hope it have a happy ending.
Yes, I hope so.
So, do you have a story of how you named your books?
Yeah, the Vendetta House was originally titled Allison. And I wanted to make it more original, so I just decided, why don't I just come up with a different title? And I remember looking for words like revenge or vengeance, and then Vendetta came along, and I was thinking, it kind of fits the story. So in the house story, and I just put the Vendetta House. And my other stories, I created all the titles myself. I try to be as original as I can. I have so many, well, 10 books, and I try to be original with the titles, and yeah, they just come from my mind and my thoughts and the ideas and my story and the characters and stuff like that. Yeah, that's how I came up with them.
Based on how of what I see of what I saw before, I think when you're naming a book, it really doesn't matter that much if it's original. It all depends if it suits the book or not in the end.
Exactly. Yeah.
For example,
Yeah.
Allison, it does sound like an original name, but when I see that cover you show me and I imagine the title, it doesn't match at all.
So you don't think the title and the cover match?
Oh no, this one is perfect. I
Oh,
meaning that I'm imagining that cover with the title Allison and it doesn't match at all.
oh, yeah. It would be kind of confusing, like, Alice in the house, and yeah, yeah. So that I did a wise choice to change the title to the Vendetta House. Yeah.
Yeah, I agree. So, what is your favorite book so far from all the ones you're reading?
I mean, honestly, all 10 of them, they're kind of like my babies. I love them all equal, the same. I mean, yeah, you could be close to one more than the other or have a special place for one or two others, but I love them all. I mean, it's hard to choose one when there's so many that I love.
I understand.
Yeah.
Okay, okay. Can you tell us a little bit about your other books too?
Yeah. Well, The Vendetta House is my first book, and then I have The Story of Miles. I have Alistair, Lost in a Journey, Creations of Daniel, The Hiding Seekers, Dark Stages, Dark Stranger, Pals, and Story of the Orange Grove, and Dark Path.
Oh, I can see that you have like many series.
Yeah, well, The Hiding Seekers and Pals are the part of the same series, and I'm working on the third one.
Yeah,
And
I
then
imagine that.
yeah. So I'm working on a lot of different sequels and prequels to many of my stories. Yeah.
Oh, the creations of Daniel. The title called my attention.
Creations of Daniel is a book of poetry and songs. I'm also a poet. Well, I write poetry and songs, and it's a book about all the poetry and songs I've written throughout my years and my dark years, and there's meanings behind each song and poem, and so that's what Dark Creations of Daniel is.
No, actually, it's a very interesting title. It sounds simple,
Yeah,
but I don't know. It got a catch.
yeah. Well, they're my creations, so yeah, Creations of Daniel.
Oh, the cover is very nice.
Oh, thank you. Yeah.
So, what is like your largest goal or dream right now as an author?
Well, back when I started writing, my dream was to make a movie. So I'm still dreaming that dream of one day making a movie. I've also written a few screenplays off my some of my books, and right now I'm just trying to open the door with that and see where it goes with my books being turned into movies or series. Yeah,
Okay, okay. Yeah, it's never really that easy.
easy. Yeah,
Well, at least you're in Hollywood. I mean, it should be easier in theory, but I don't know.
yeah, yeah.
I mean, the contacts are something you should be able to get there, I assume.
Yeah, yeah, but we're kind of talking to some people. We know some producers and other screenwriters and stuff like that, and we're trying to see where it goes. But it is a hard process to get into, and but never say never. And I'm never going to quit up my dreams, and so I'm still dreaming about it.
Which one in particular you're planning to do first?
Probably the Vendetta House because it's my first story, and I've also written the screenplay, like two versions of the screenplay. And but I would love to make all my stories into movies or a series, especially about my life, my three books, Dark Stages, Dark Stranger, and Dark Path. I would love to make a series of on like on Netflix or Hulu or Prime or somewhere where they could show my my story on the screen.
Yeah.
Yeah.
But actually, I thought the same as you with the Vendetta House. From all the ones you mentioned, that's one that's the one I felt that it ranked more on that area.
Okay. Yeah. I think it's more marketable, sellable, because a lot of people, there's a big fan base for horror movies and slasher movies and revenge movies. And so I think that would be probably the first one to go to. Yeah.
I mean, it have dried out a bit. Those movies are not appearing as much as before, but they still happen from time to time.
Yeah. Yeah. And sometimes they take off. You just never know, you know?
And
Yeah.
honestly, I do feel there's going to be a resurgence on that eventually because it has been
Yes.
some time since we have them. So I think it will probably get something.
Yeah. Yeah.
And I
Yeah.
mean, Netflix do make some movies, horror movies lately, but I don't think nothing like the classics in that area.
Yeah, exactly.
So,
Yeah.
do you have any experience with readers that you remember fondly?
Yeah, well, I actually a few people have corresponded with me over my books, and I've met a friend that became one of my best friends through one of my stories, Alistair, and his name is Jim. I even dedicated a book to him. He became a fan, and then he became one of my close friends, and that's an experience that will always stay with me because we're like really good friends now. So, and we met through my stories.
Oh, by dedicating the book, you mean like it's based on his life or just a
No,
character?
just the dedication of the book. Yeah, the book was
Okay,
dedicated to him. Yeah.
I get it. So, do you have like a support network right now with other writers?
No, I just try to, word of mouth and on social media and just stuff like that. YouTube and yeah.
Oh, okay. So you don't have like writers friends that help you sometimes?
Oh yeah, yeah, I do. I have some friends my friend Jim, he read my last story and helped me edit it, and so yeah, yeah, of course.
Okay, okay. So, what are your plans for the future? Are you planning to go to a signing, maybe a book fair or something?
Yes, I would love to do more book signings, and I haven't published a book in 5 years. The last book was Dark Path. That was in 2020. So yeah, when I publish a new book, I would love to do more book signings and book fairs and all that stuff. Just try to promote it as much as I can.
Technically, you're doing a republishing, but yeah.
Yeah, second editions. I'm doing a lot of those for hardback because some of them weren't into hardback, but now they are.
Are you adding extra material or it's the same book?
No, it's the same book, just and from hardback, second edition. Some things, some of them, some things were touched, edited or added, but for the most part, it's pretty much the same story. Yeah.
Yeah, I think that's more on the fantasy writers that I see the extra on the republishing.
Mm,
That they
yeah.
make, maybe a bestiary or something like that for the magical
Oh,
world.
yeah. Well, I didn't want to for the second edition. I didn't want to change too much because then it would become like a different book or story, and so I wanted to maintain it as closest to the original as possible. And just just updating and fixing some errors and stuff like that.
Oh, it makes sense. It's okay. Why
Yeah,
why fix what it's not broken?
yeah, exactly.
At least you're busy right now because you have many series and sequels you're working on, right?
Correct. I'm working on just about all my stories have a sequel or prequel that I'm working on that I have ideas for and that eventually I will write and finish. Yeah.
So right now you're working in two new books.
Yeah, I'm still working on the fourth chronicle of my life series called A Light in the Dark and the Hiding Seeker series. The first book, Hiding Seekers, the second book is Pals, and then I'm gonna work on the third one, which is called the Vendetta Seekers. So, and I'm also working on the sequel to Alistair, which I'm still working on.
So by in the order, it's going to be the last one of the series about you, and then you'll go to the Vendetta again.
You mean the next book I publish?
Yeah.
No, the next book I'm gonna publish is a side story to my chronicles, my life story. It's not it's not a years of my life, it's just a chapter of my life. It's called Searching the Darkness, and that's the next book I'll publish sometime next year, early next year.
No, okay.
Yeah.
And then on the schedule, it's going to go to the Vendetta.
I'm not sure yet. Probably the sequel to Alistair or the sequel to Pals, which will be called the Vendetta Seekers.
Okay. So, what social media you can share so we can know about your updates, etc.
Yeah, well, I'm on Instagram, I'm on YouTube, I'm on X and TikTok, and most of them are all Libra Jaguar Star at Libra Jaguar Star. And or you can find me under my pen name, Daniel P Lopez. The P is with an apostrophe, and together P Lopez. So Libra Jaguar Star or Daniel P Lopez.
Okay. In which platforms can we get your books?
My books are available on Amazon, on Barnes and Noble, most of the big store websites, and or you could order them through me. But for the most part, they're on Amazon. Yeah.
Okay.
And available as soft, hard, and as ebook.
Well, Daniel, I think that's all for now. Thank you so much for answering our questions, and
Thank you.
I really wish that you publish that book as soon as possible.
Well, thank you. I appreciate that. And it's been great.
Well, thank you so much. We say bye and see you next week. Bye, Daniel.
Goodbye.
Well, thanks for coming and joining us today. If you find this episode inspiring, like, subscribe, and share this video. And give Maree Books a try in the link below. Have a nice day and see you next week. Bye.